Senate. And just to add on the voice and the issues which have been raised here, I think Senate being a new part of Parliament, back then, not now, in 2010 to 2013, and especially 2013, when the new senators came in, they started from a very high threshold. First, we got very senior legislators who have served all through the terms, most of them. And at that time, it was mentioned here, you actually gave the Supreme Court its status through the first petition that was taken there on the division of revenue bill. And since then, we are on the fourth term. I think what also has happened very nicely is that there has been what I call cross-pollination of leadership across the institution. So now we have a two-term governor who is the head of the Senate. We have a two-term senator who is the Speaker of the National Assembly. And I believe those kind of happenings lay ground for proper discussions, interactions, constitutional dialogues, and understanding of perspectives from all sides. And I believe that we are fertile with progress as we go ahead. So, to my 6 quick points, and as I said, I'll have a substantive presentation tomorrow. The first one, I was involved in analysis of the effectiveness of the Senate and the Senate Committee on Devolution in terms of its objectives and all that. I won't go into the findings because that is work in progress, but I realized, and now it's an opportune moment, that please pay keen attention to constitution of committees. Not only the numbers, but also the membership and leaderships of those committees, with an agreed strategy of making the Senate very effective. And look at all those levels in the constitution of the Senate. The Senate does not have a limited legislative role. I don't call it that. The Senate has a unique role. It's defined for a very wide function. And actually, that is why we are talking here about expanding the space of the Senate. So, tutoring the structures, the committees, and the work of the plenary towards that unique and identified space and niche within the constitutional space is quite important. Now, the second point is, of course, the administration and the secretariat have done wonderful work in facilitating the work of the House. But a further streamlining of this to ensure support to the Senate wholly, the membership, will really assist. I want to mention 3 examples here. One is, for instance, the work of stakeholder engagement and consultation. Of course, the Senate does that through the committees when a bill is passed to the committees. But deeper interrogation of issues, intergovernmental relations, what the Constitution wants, actually requires further facilitation beyond the morning of meeting at one of the halls in the county, in the Senate. And this is sustained partnership engagements. Of course, because of the nature of the work of individual senators, they may not manage to do this on a day-to-day basis, but can rely on a very able team in the Secretariat to prepare ground for proper stakeholder engagement. The other thing is, for instance, we looked at a bit how the Senate has engaged with the stakeholders, and the feedback is that there's need for improvement. We have the same attendees in these committee sessions and views taken on board, but it needs to be broadened. And as I said, if you streamline the teams further at the Secretariat and the administration to assist the House carry out its role of stakeholder consultation, among other things that the teams can do. This leads me to another important third point, and that is capacity development. And here, I mean capacity development of members of the Senate, as well as the Secretariat and the teams which are assisting committees and the entire administration of the Senate. And I want to give a very broad recommendation after going through some of the background of this, is that we try as much as possible to link the current needs of the members to the capacity development processes and activities that roll out. And That I mean all the roles which have been spoken about here, and carefully thinking how to ensure at the end of the day, the outputs are those which make individual members more effective. My fourth point is on the issue of oversight. I know that we've concentrated a bit on how to play the oversight at the county level, but I want to add one major sub-point on that, is that Senate is part of the national parliament. Senate is part of the national parliament. And given its unique role, which I spoke about earlier, so this oversight role can actually be seen in two levels. One is to look at Article 96, where they talk about national revenue allocated to counties. But more importantly, what are the national level processes regarding devolution that should work effectively so that that can cascade down to county governments? And I'll give an example. We have a problem of cash disbursement to county governments. There's a framework that the Senate develops. How much does the Senate engage National Treasury on a regular basis? Because it's easier for the Senate to do that than for the 7 governors to each visit the National Treasury and argue for their own. If the Senate can actually carry that out on behalf of county governments, and of course then county governors can follow up on the other residual issues which are not addressed at that collective level. That is one thing to reflect about. I also looked at the Ministry of Devolution. I mean, if you look at the functions that ministry is supposed to perform, they are very critical. But the effectiveness of it, if you look on the ground, there are very many issues that can be fixed. So one of the things that we asked in this analysis I'm talking about is how regularly do the relevant committees of the Senate engage with the Ministry of Devolution at the national level. The ministries are being, we'll see the lineup of the new cabinet, but I'm sure they'll be somewhere. But institutions with that mandate need to have regular meetings with the Senate and its relevant committees in order to generate that agenda for the Senate at that level. So the oversight at the national level is quite important. Of course, with the county assembly, with the county level as well. But on these county assemblies, I agree with what has been agreed, with what has been discussed with my previous speakers. But also, what we need to reflect on is how to continuously build the capacity of county assemblies. If county assemblies can develop some form of capacity over the years, then the need to intervene in county assembly oversight, I believe, will diminish with time. And we need to think about that strategy as we go on. Now, on to the legislative role that the Senate plays. I think around 60 to 70, 75% of the issues which have been mentioned by the previous speakers here can actually be addressed if the Senate develops a strategy through its calendar to develop the needed legal frameworks. And I spoke earlier about stakeholder engagements. So have a program of channeling these views, and these views find their way into proposed laws of the Senate. I can mention, for example, if we have identified 1-2 major issues affecting oversight at the county level, it's possible to propose amendments to the Public Finance Management Act and fix that, including how to facilitate the county assemblies. One other thing, for instance, the Ministry of Devolution, we know, has a substantive role to play in terms of capacity development of county governments. The Senate, I think, needs to be on top of this and see how that is structured and how the funds are expended there. Do they lead to the outcomes that we need? Why is it that we have such a huge capacity deficit in the county assemblies? And this will actually reduce the need to look at very fragmented issues. For instance, what Governor Sang mentioned, looking at the receipts of the governor's car that was washed. Those, I think, should be done at the county level. And on that point, I think it's important to again reflect deeper on county assembly oversight. And my suggestion is, if you try to audit all the issues in all the 47 county assemblies, we will not have time to do that. By the nature of its mandate, the membership of the Senate is actually quite limited, but for a good purpose, as we said, it is a unique role. And maybe what to do going forward is to find a way of engaging with offices like the Auditor General's office so that we have systemic and recurring issues that require national legislative intervention and national oversight. And that means that you identify recurring themes, a general and high-level review of county assembly audit reports and the county executive, identify themes that require oversight at the national level and those that require national frameworks. And of course, those notorious issues, I think you are not limited by any law to look at if especially they concern a particular county. So that was on my fifth point, that we think critically on the legislative plan. And then we allow stakeholder consultation, especially from the institutions and persons affected by those laws, to ventilate views and all that. And I know and understand the kind of competition that has been between the two chambers. I personally was really relieved to see that a two-term senator is heading the National Assembly, and I think you have the first opportunity to unlock that gridlock and ensure, and because I know it's committed to the spirit of devolution, and this would lead to some streamlining of things. We try to ask on devolution issues, because the National Assembly, as we said, has a role to pass laws, all laws, including the ones which the Senate has a primary role, but we realized in the assessment there was very minimal engagement with the two houses on legislative business. I hope that is going to change, because it's going to unlock a lot in the upcoming legislative calendar. Now, my last point is on the emerging jurisprudence from courts regarding devolution, role of the Senate, and all that. My suggestion is that we actively engage in this process. Because looking sometimes at the way courts ventilate issues, all the way to the Supreme Court, and depending on the nature of engagement, it actually changes. So therefore, what we hear in the High Court, what we hear in the Court of Appeal, and finally in the Supreme Court, it is fine-tuned and refined as we go so that we have the highest restatement of law. The Court of Appeal judgment regarding the laws that were declared unconstitutional. Of course, I'm really happy that the Senate actually appealed on this issue, because there are, for me, two issues which came out of that judgment, and I won't want to preempt what the Supreme Court will say, but actually should worry every senator. One, the Court of Appeal said a money bill is excluded from the National Assembly. Not just that it originates. If you look at the judgment, it says that National Assembly should move with money bills. And now money bills deal with money. So tell me how many laws which are important that do not deal with how we expend public finances. And I believe that is a point that should be strongly litigated, and we establish a law to say that actually if you deny one chamber of parliament a role in any money bill, you are severely limiting that role. And it's good that that is going on. The second point is about tagging of laws. Which law affects counties and therefore goes to the county, and which law affects, which does not affect and therefore debated and passed by the National Assembly. That also, the Court of Appeal went through a very deep interrogation of the issue and concluded that sometimes there doesn't have to be that consultation between the two speakers of the chambers. I believe that is also an issue that will be ventilated on. The Supreme Court, in the 2013 petition that the Senate took to court, actually made very important restatements, and we hope this is an opportunity to discuss that. Because at the end of it all, the decision that a law does not affect counties is actually a decision of Parliament. The Senate should own a decision that this does not affect them. And we hope that process will be ventilated. So I wanted to make those 6 points from the discussions coming here, but I'll have a more substantive opportunity tomorrow to make a presentation on the issue of intergovernmental relations. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. Honorable Senators, we are a bit late. We started 1.5 hours late, so we want to manage the time before lunch. I would like to request our protocol team 4 microphones, please. One on this corridor, one on this, one on that, and one on the other. We will move very fast. I will take questions only once, and the panelists will take notes, because I will give them, each one of them, 3 minutes to answer and to make their last statement. So I would really like to spend this time. I'm hoping we can finish within half an hour. We are done. So I will take the first one is Senator Mungatana Kinywa, and then right at the front here. Yes, I can see Senator Nyonga. Wow, then I'll come this side.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to